All right, guys. So for those that are watching the replay, which I know I have a lot of you, I always see like 30, 40, sometimes 50 you guys watching the replay, which is really good. And also too, like if you're here live and you have to catch the replay, like just rewatch it because sometimes like you'll see stuff that you might have missed the first time. I'm also in like I'm in like a my own program as well. And I always joke like, there's not enough time in the day. So sometimes I am rewatching like my coaches stuff. So it's, it is what it is. And it really does help you learn a lot faster. And, I always say the replays always help too, because you can actually pause stuff and like try to do it on your own. Or you might learn something and maybe you didn't think of the first time around, which is basically like that's our job essentially is to kind of give you guys the tools. Let me make sure I can I'm plugging all your stuff in now. The tools for like success, right? That's our job is, getting inside, showing you guys stuff. Like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to learn. Like, that's one thing I can always say is like a long time ago, I just put my ego in the back burner and I just pretend like, if I don't know stuff, I just ask. Like, there's no stupid questions, guys. Like, there really isn't. And if you feel like there is, I promise you there it's not. It's not a stupid question. It's more so like how can we help you guys understand it? Because I always say if someone has the same question somewhere, they're just afraid to say it. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to, ask your accountability coaches like, yo, I'm not sure about this. What can we do? Or like, how can you explain this Barney style for me? Because our job is just that. It's just like kind of like pinpointing where you're not sure. So I'm gonna share my screen. I talked to me and Mary texted me today and she's like, let me just give me an idea like how my nutrition's looking. So that way we can kind of, see where you guys are at. So again, each week, if you guys want me to jump into your nutrition, I will do anything that you guys need direction on. Like if you ask, I will do it. And I always joke, like there's not a fitness coach out there in the space that's really going to take the time to explain this stuff to you guys because all they're going to do is, I know I talked to you guys about this on the consultation, but give you that one sheet of piece of paper of yes foods and no. And always for most of us, that's always the biggest thing is, making sure you guys understand the nutrition aspect to its entirety. So if I can like give you guys the freedom with food, it unlocks a lot of problems. I've had a lot of people in the past with like food disorders, like not really feeling confident. They're afraid to track their macros and working through that too. So that's always the biggest thing, right? It's not the end of the world. It's just showing you guys like where we can start making the changes. And who cares? Like at the end of the day, like we're all here to learn. I still like try to learn something new every single day. Because if I can, and I know you just started, Mary, so I'm gonna come. I think this is like you're like going into week 4, so you're pretty fresh. Like if you guys are like in your first month, like a lot of this stuff is gonna feel really new if you've never done it before, which is good, because then you really can learn. So I think when you first started, we noticed like your fats were a little bit high, which I doubt this is true. A cup of scrambled eggs. So when you guys log too, some things are not always going to be 100% right inside of my fitness pouch. Just the way, like over the years, it has a huge database, which is amazing. Um, but like I'll just do scrambled eggs, or I'll just do eggs. Just log it as eggs if you do scrambled eggs, because everyone does scrambled eggs. Just do regular egg. Let's say you did like I don't know, like 3, right? You're gonna see the difference. Um, right. So now it's only 15 grams of fat and 19 grams of protein. You know what I mean? So like 66 grams of fat is insane, unless there's like a ton of cheese inside of it. But I would just do it separate that way. Like if I not added like American cheese, and then from there, like it's gonna be anywhere from like 60 to 80 calories for the most part. Let's say you just do 2 slices compared to like what we just looked at, right? So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, like 23 grams of fat as opposed. So it's like literally less than half than we thought before. So that's always the big thing is with my fitness pal, you just have to understand that not everything is going to be 100% perfect. We're not here to be 100% perfect, right? We're not stepping on stage. We're not here to become, shredded bodybuilders. That's a whole nother ball game. And, it's not easy. My in-laws did that stuff and it looks insane. I like to live my life and like chill and just feel good and, feel healthy. And honestly, like getting that low in body fat is insane anyway. It's not sustainable, but, like, just making sure we're really understanding nutrition so we feel confident, right? So now the day already looks better. So for you, right, obviously we just got to be mindful of carbohydrates. And I'm kind of like, I'm going to nitpick stuff just because I'll just pull it up, right? So we're at 130 carbs. And I think when we first started, you were eating a lot more. So let me go to the most recent. Let me look at your history really fast. So and I know we talked about this too, Mary. Like your stuff, your numbers have already improved, right? I told you, for most of you guys, right, this number is a lot of data for us and for me. So I always tell clients like we can really understand like what you're how consistent you are, how much you're logging, where you need to get to, and if we need to change stuff if we're not seeing results, right? So or Mary Becca, whatever, well, first name, we got two first names, but essentially like for her, she's going into her week 4. So like this doesn't have all the data. But if we look at her lines, like it looks pretty solid, right? There's no gaps, nothing's missing. Like in the beginning, it's going to look a little rough because you guys are just starting out. But as you go forward, like your lines are going to start to get a lot better. And I pulled this up the other day inside the client only group. But your MyFitnessPal is going to do this exact same thing. My job for you guys is to teach you that you guys can do this stuff on your own. Like, I want you guys to feel super confident when you get done here. Like, I know what to do. I know how to check my own progress. I can see like how I'm doing. If you guys still have goals in mind, right? I have a lot of clients that get done. They still might lose 40 pounds, but they want to lose 60, 80, 100. We're just giving you guys the ground, we're breaking ground for you guys to pave your own way, essentially. So let me go back. So you guys can kind of get an idea if you didn't see my video in the group, right? So for me, right, you could see it here. These are like a little bit older, but you guys can see like the consistency, right? You guys can see how it tracks. And, from that point forward, it's very, very similar to what we do in True Coach. So when I look at this, it tells me my average, right? My goal is 40% carbs. I hit it 37% of the time for 7 days straight. My fats goal was 30%. I hit it 34%. And my protein goal is 30%, but I hit it 29%. You see what I mean? Like I'm falling within the numbers. So when I look at this at the end of my 7 days, I'm like, girl, you did it. Like we should be starting to see progress. Problem I see for most people is they feel like 2 or 3 days is good and then they miss a day. And then they might like log 1 or 2 things on the 3rd day or the 4th day. And then like they totally skip the weekend. So they're like, I've been killing it. And I'm like, we look back and I'm like, I have no data. I can't tell like if you're killing it or not. I don't know what you're doing. And for us, like, if we can kind of like get an inside glimpse, right? So obviously we have access to like your MyFitnessPal and things too. So like again, on the group calls, if you guys want me to go into your stuff, I will. We can kind of pinpoint like where those gaps are, where you need to get better at. So let's go through a little bit more recent on Mary's stuff. So let me pull that over to my other screen because I know we changed your stuff recently. And let me know if you guys have any questions in the chat as I'm doing this. But we ended up like dropping you down a little bit because it felt like a lot of food. That's another thing too, is like if you feel like you're struggling, please let us know so we can kind of pinpoint where the changes need to be made. Okay, so great job, right? Protein's there, fats there, carbs, like you could have added a little bit more carbs. Like that's really it. Like you're within the 20 gram range though. So this is what I want you guys to see. Like there's no such thing as perfection in nutrition because even when we track, we could still be off a little bit. That's the goal, is to like, get relatively close, because if we're just guesstimating all the time, it's going to be really, really hard to know, especially if you guys never tracked food before. Because what I oftentimes see is most people don't understand portion sizes, or they think it's like their right portion, but it's way more. And that's really where like, the problems start happening, or we're constantly under eating and then we're feeling like we're eating too much on other days. And then your body's like riding that roller coaster. So here, like even if you wanted to add like anything, like you could just add like between lunch and breakfast, you can always add like a banana or something. So bananas are usually like 27 grams of carbs or something around there. Not the end of the world, but boom, like something like that where we just add it up in there, which might help you like for, if you're getting a little hungry at some point, you need a little snack. Great job too. Ahi tuna is great. Love that because it's all protein. Ahi tuna is love that stuff, especially if you live on the coast. I used to buy it from Sam's Club all the time, like the frozen one. You're not supposed to do that and like do it raw, but I don't care. I'm still alive, so we're here. But here, like right on this day, our goal for you is like around 135 grams of carbs. So we just got to dial it back a little bit. So I know you did the ahi tuna on that. You could do like, you can always dial back the bun and just do half. For me, the way I learned the fastest was actually plugging in as much as my day as I physically thought I was going to eat, because sometimes like it's not always going to happen, right? Like you get stuck over at work. So what I would do is then I would just delete it out and I'd be like, well, this is my day. Like it's not the end of the world, but at least I can see, right? Beans are good too. Good at high in fiber, which is another thing too, guys. Make sure you're getting in your fiber, because I don't know if you keep track of things, but there's a lot of issues right now in younger generations with like either like stomach cancer or colon cancer, things like that, because just as a whole society, we're not getting enough fiber. So be mindful of that. Beans are really good. I think it's like chia seeds. Um, the Olay wellness wraps have fiber in it, so just be mindful of that stuff. Also, like I think I want to see the whole grain bagels got some in there too. All right, again, this day looks great. Like boom, crushed it. See, and you guys can still have stuff like this. Like she had Chick-fil-A sandwich, not the end of the world. Like I still do stuff like that too. Fell within her range. That's what I mean when I say like you guys can eat what you want without sabotaging your results. You can still have the Chick-fil-A sandwich. You could still have crab cakes, right? You could still have like things like that. She also had like flapjack cup. So for most people, when I see them start programs or they want to lose weight, like all we do is start restricting ourselves and cutting things out, right? Basically what Mary's doing now is learning like actually it's not that serious. Like I can eat this stuff and still feel really good. So yeah, you went a little bit over here. The only thing I would kind of think of dialing back, I don't know what the quick add is, but you can always dial back a little bit with the mashed potatoes. You can always swap it out for something else that's a little bit lighter, but again, not the end of the world. Maybe just do half a cup. So again, comes down to the portion sizes. All right, and then boom. That'll probably lower it a little bit when you're within, like, you're right there. You're within the 10-gram range. So perfect there too. So for most of us, like, we get really, really caught up. Oh, Jesus Christ. A lot of sugar. Oh, that was that wedding day, I bet. Yeah. God damn. So don't that's a lot of sugar. But you can also see it too, right? Then you're like, holy shit. That's always a big thing with logging our food, is we can be like, wow. I mean, I love me an orange crush, so I ain't mad about it, girl. But you can kind of see like, okay, that's where the sugar, and that's why you feel like super hungover the next day, because of all the sugar intake, because our body's just like, whoa. So you can kind of see that as well. Same thing. This day looks pretty solid as well. The only thing I could always nick and pick is just like your sodium levels. But if you're gonna have something from Dunkin', like you just gonna know that you're gonna have higher sodium intake. So again, not the end of the world. Just drink more water that day. For most people anyway, they need the sodium, especially now it's summertime and you're exercising. So it's not that bad. And this day looks pretty solid too, right? You're a little bit over on your protein, but I'd rather you see you guys over than under. So again, like you can kind of see the way she's has things structured. Like for you, like you're eating some things that are maybe like the same, especially with your breakfast. What she's essentially doing is like picking a couple like key meals where she knows like every morning I'm gonna have 53 grams of carbs, 12 grams of fat, and 25 grams of protein. And she's starting her day like that, which I think is great, because even for most of you, right, we're not big breakfast eaters. I haven't been. I used to force myself to eat, obviously, like when you had to, but when I would drive into work, when you're up at like 3:30, 4 in the morning, you're not really hungry. So I would just do like my protein coffee. And then like a few hours later, I would have something small like at work. I would always sometimes I would make my eggs before the night before I go into work, and then I would just microwave them. You guys know too, like you can literally bring in regular eggs, crack it into something and microwave it, and it'll cook in the microwave too. So you guys can always do that. In our department, they used to have like a kitchen, and we would put money in every month, and then someone would go buy a bunch of stuff. So we would have like a ton of eggs. So I'd always just like boil a bunch of eggs for the squad in the morning too. So like you guys, think outside of, other ways to get your food in, but you can also, like I said, bring stuff in like this. Kodiaks are great. They're portable, they're easy. You can bring them on the road, you can microwave it, you can make it on before you even leave for work, and then eat that. I used to do the muffins. I would make a bunch of muffins. And then that's what I would eat in the morning. I'd have my protein coffee and I had a Kodiak muffin, you know, because it was just something. It's giving me a little bit of carbs. And if I got a bunch of calls in the morning, then I would just, you know, at least I had something in my system. Dun, dun. Yeah. Oh, Mary says the chocolate milk has been a great dessert. Yeah, stuff like that too. Like the Fairlife chocolate milk. I like that's great to have because it kind of hits your sweet tooth. So, you know, find something that you guys think will work. If you guys want to use too, like the meal guides I've created, let me pull these up too. Let me see if I can find one of them. I know there's a ton of stuff in here. Like for some people, this is like overwhelming. So you guys have the option to like obviously look through every single one of these. But ultimately the goal is for you to find something you guys like. Like these are like straight up chicken nuggets, like real good nuggets. You guys can use those. I have like my recipes in here so you can see how they're structured. I've worked with people with these beach body, stuff like that. And what you can do is just kind of like pick and choose, and I'll tell you about that protein coffee in a second, Diane. Um, with what you guys can do with like these is kind of like nitpick, right? For me, like I know, like you guys all know what you want, right? I talked about this. We're all creatures of habit. We all have things. So, you know, one night before bed, just scroll through this, or remember what page it's on. Be like, and just write in your notes on your phone, page, you know, page 19 breakfast. Write that in your notes. And then you're going to scroll down, you're going to look through, and you're like, actually, like, I like the Kung Pao chicken recipe. And I put it over protein pasta. So the Barilla pasta spaghetti. So it's like having noodles. And like, you can be like, oh, I like dinner from page 19 too. And then what you're going to do is scroll down. You're going to be like, oh, like, I love me some like sandwiches with some cucumber on it. Like, you got grapes on the side, some mayo, cheese, and deli meat. Actually, I want to have that for lunch. So what you're gonna do is kind of like nitpick what you guys want, and then you basically just like pull it up. You pull up your MyFitnessPal, and you're just gonna like copy, right? You're just gonna copy and paste. So you're gonna be like, okay, like so lunch, so Dave's Killer Bread, or whatever bread you guys want. It doesn't have to be this word for word. So just remember that, guys. Like this stuff doesn't. You guys can like edit this however you want because if you do that, it's gonna help teach you how to start creating your own meal plans. And if you can learn how to make your own meal plans, in a sense, like kind of like what I've done over the years is make like all of these, you're going to unlock something that's going to give you the freedom to like learn how to manipulate your own foods for your goals, right? And that's what I want for you guys is to be able to like pick and choose. Like this is a salad with chicken breast. So if you're a salad lover, the Taylor Farms, they have everything together. Like the dressings in there, there's like nuts in there, there's like crunchy stuff in there. You can do a serving of that with a salad. If you guys like pork chops, you know what I mean? Like if you like pretzels, chops, like the reason I left all the numbers here too is so you guys can actually see it. So if you're like, damn, like I need, like let me pull up her stuff really quick. Let's see if I can find a day that where she's like, oh, I need 16 grams of carbs. You know what I mean? And I come over here and like she could always have like a small bag of pretzels or something. You know what I mean? As an extra snack. You guys would be surprised how much food you can really start to eat and how much it's gonna like feel really it's gonna feel good too. You're like, oh, I can actually eat a little bit more than I thought. Like this day looks amazing too, right? She went to Chipotle, not the end of the world. Like just plug it in, look at it, acknowledge it. This is my food. It's got 47 grams of protein, 23 fat, 54 carb. That's a great meal. And most people will be like, well, what's the most ideal like meal calorie amount? It doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't. Like for me, sometimes I'm only getting 2 meals a day. And then the rest I'm like filling in with like some sort of snack. So that's what I mean by there's no perfect scenario. It's only perfect in your world. You know what I mean? Like your world is going to look completely different than my world, right? For me, like I'm on the computer, I'm doing back-to-back calls sometimes. Like I'm also like, reaching out to some of you guys. My coaches are also asking me questions. So I'm like in this space a lot. So sometimes I forget to eat too. So what I do is before I even start my day is usually I have it physically thought out. I'm like, all right, I already had my steak bowl this morning because dude, I am a creature of habit. I kid you not. And then I had to run after my haircut to the store to get almond milk. So I just picked up one of those little tiny meals. It was like a what was it? It's got like pork in it with some rice and it was like a carnita or something. I don't know. But I just had that. and it was like 600 calories. It was like almost exactly like this, like almost the same macros. I think it was like 30 grams of protein, somewhere close to that. But I was like, oh, perfect. Because I got, calls, and then I was like, I have my group call, and then my wife's leaving for work, and I'll eat right before. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just gotta like think and plan out a little bit of your day. It's gonna help you with your time management too. But yeah, just doing it like this looks really, really good. And what's today? It's tomorrow. So for me, if I was her and she had this and it was only, maybe you only had half of it, I would just basically just like quick tools, and I'm going to copy, to date, and maybe I want to eat it again, for lunch. So I just plug it in for tomorrow, right? So I'm going to plug stuff into your thing, right? So if Mary's like, oh, I already got this for tomorrow, like, I already got my lunch pre-programmed. It's done. Took 2 seconds. So for me, usually because I already have all my stuff like planned out in my MyFitnessPal, usually takes me less than it literally takes less than 3 minutes to plan my day out if I kind of know what's already in the fridge. And for some of you guys, this was always a big like not objection, but a big thing I hear from most people is like, well, I don't know what my family's making for dinner. So you leave that space open and you just do the best that you can. You guys could always eat a little bit more. Be like, hey, what's for dinner tonight? If your significant other's making something or they're picking something up. Okay, cool. And then you just plug it in and it's not the end of the world. You guys are going to get a lot closer to your macros if you start like, plugging in with you guys can control. And then from there, it's going to really help. But Mary said, like, it helped her today deciding what I could have on it and things I've never had in my bowl before. Exactly. Like, I usto always do that. Like we go to Chipotle, I'm just like, all right, I'll just plug it in. And then all she has to do is this. She can just go quick tools, remember meal, and she's gonna say like Chipotle bowl with what is this, chicken? All right, and we're gonna save it for Mary. So like anytime she ever goes back to Chipotle, it's done. Like she knows. She's like, I can do this like every week. I can go get my Chipotle bowl and have literally two meals. I used to do this at work all the time because the guys always wanted to get something to eat. And I'm like, dude, done. I already got it logged. Like, y'all can't mess with me because I got this stuff locked in. So not only does she have her stuff, now she knows exactly what she needs to order every time she goes to Chipotle because we just saved it into her food database. So all she has to do is anytime she goes in, let's see. I don't know where it just went. It just like straight up disappeared. That was weird. I put it in for Thursday. Sorry. I'll delete that out. But like if she wanted to do it for Wednesday, it's gonna be it should be in meals, I think. Yeah. So Chipotle bowl with chicken, and then she just goes bam. And it's so much faster on the phone. But essentially like, you know, boom, it's done. That's another thing too, guys. Like Chipotle does, what is it? It's like not like catering, but you guys can order like Chipotle in bulk, and just make your meals that way too. It makes life pretty easy if you guys do it that way as well, because then boom, everything's all the guesswork's taken away. And for most of us, we're gonna order out anyway, so might as well just get something that's gonna be macro friendly. So that's in for her tomorrow, and that's pretty much it. Like more than times than not, she's eating, right? She's doing the Kodiak and the chocolate milk. Let me look a couple times. Dunkin', you're a Dunkin' liker. You're liking that Dunkin'. Right. So this is like something that you eat a lot of. So you can always be like quick tools, remember meal, and it's just like milk and flapjack cup. And you could save that. So the next day, like you have it, you just basically it'll come up in your meals and then it's already implemented. So boom, you're done there. All right, Diane said protein coffee. Yes. So for me, I use protein powder. I've had clients in the past, they do iced coffee, like they like the buy the, the big thing of like cold coffee that you can go to the grocery store. So I have some people that'll use that. And you could use two kinds of protein. You can either do like powdered protein, which I like because if you're using the tub, you get more out of it. But let me Premier protein. But if you guys do, like, for instance, like you like cold brew or something, you can always buy this and use it as creamer. So for some people, they can do like half coffee, half protein. And, you're getting obviously energy and protein at the same time. So, if you just use half of it, that's 15 grams of protein. You know what I mean? And it's caramel flavored. Or like some people who like mocha, you can use this. Or you can buy like the powder. I use powder one and I just put it in my I just do like a little bit of, whatever milk you want, almond milk, oat milk, regular milk, like a splash of that just to cool your hot coffee off. And then I'll put a scoop of I use caramel latte, like protein powder, and I put it right in there. And use those little handheld milk frother, and it mixes it up real good and it froths it up. And I like during the winter, the brand I buy has pumpkin spice. And then you put a little bit of whipped cream on top. It's fire. So that's what I mean, guys. Like, food doesn't have to suck. Like, you guys don't have to feel like you have to be like, oh, I can't have that. Like, you can have it. It's you just got to make sure you're logging it so we can actually see. So we can see it, then we go, oh, like these are the gaps. And that's why I wanted to look at like Mary's stuff today and kind of pinpoint like, does she have any gaps? But honestly, no, like she continues this way, like it's only up from here, you know what I mean? So it's just consistency is what builds everything. And when we get that consistency, if we don't see any like changes, in the scale or her body composition pictures, because that's another thing too, is usually you're going to see more body comp changes sometimes before the scale. And that's okay. Everyone's different. Some people lose it really, really fast. It comes off. Some people, they'll see like the body composition changes first. Their pants start to feel light and they're like, why isn't the scale moving? And I'm like, I don't know. Like it's just some people lose the weight faster. They're maintaining the muscle. Some people like have a little bit more inflammation. As women, we have a lot of different reasons why we don't see the scale move as much. So it's not the end of the world. Some people lose a lot of water retention first, then the fat starts to come off. So the scale might drop really fast, but their pants still feel the same. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like if I can see the pants feel a lot less tight, then that's a win in my book. Also, too, like for some of you guys, just the way your nutrition looks. A lot of times what I see first happen for most women is we drop a ton of bloating. That's a big thing I see was when you guys start noticing what nutrition looks like for you, you start to lose a lot of bloating because now you start to see like the food choices you're making. A lot of times too, sodium levels, right? So we want to keep it around that 2300 mark is, the best case scenario. I will probably say most Americans, just with our diets, closer to like 3500. So anything below that is, pretty solid in my book. If you can get lower, that's even better. All right. Any questions so far on nutrition? Does anyone want me to pull theirs up so I can like take a look? Or, I would say like there's no right or wrong. It's more so like just learn. I used to have like I pulled up, like I said, I've been in business courses before. I had them pull up my ads manager, like they're seeing how much money I'm spending on ads. They're like, this sucks. Why are you still running this? It's not the end of the world. Like I always say, like you always learn. Um, Learning's power. It really is. So don't be afraid to learn while you're in here, guys. Any questions? Everyone good so far? Good. All right. Other than that, Mary, I say like keep it riding. You're doing the right things. Like, before you know it, you'll be at like 60, 70%. I have a couple people right now hitting that. I have somebody hitting 90%, which is wild. So again, like the more consistent you guys are, okay, you feel like you're a little all over the place here. Okay. Do you want me to look your stuff?
Sure.
Oh, okay. All right, let me pull it up really fast. Hold on, let me find. Who are you under real quick? Are you under, say Casey? Who's your,
Diana.
who's your,
I'm really bad with names.
start with a K, Lisa,
No. D. D.
Denise. Oh, Denise.
Denise. There we go.
Good, good old Denise. All right, let's pull your stuff up. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, you just started too, right? You're in week 3. Okay. All right, let's take a look. See, let me log out really fast. Let me stop my share so I'm not blasting you guys on your login information. Hold on. All right, drop any questions you guys have while I'm logging into Sierra. And again, right, we're all here to learn. I love learning. I think it's fun. No one's ever too old to learn anything either. Always learn something new. Okay, I'm inside. All right, perfect. All right, so let's take a look around. Okay, so for you, oh, yours is a little bit different. I like it. Okay, so it tells you a little bit. I guess you have like calorie goals for your different meals, which is fine. Um, you know, uh, Let's go back. Let's go back. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I'll look at last week so we can get a better idea. And I'm also going to pull up your regular nutrition so I can see where you're at there, right? So obviously, I know Denise is going to go through this like usually a little bit more weekly, but for you, you're eating like you're pretty low on the carbs, which is very, very normal. I see a lot of people do this because what I find is we're a little nervous sometimes, you know what I mean? To eat a little bit more food, which is totally okay. It's more so like building you up, right? So for most of us is what I find is this, right? A lot of times our nutrition has been so inconsistent for such a long time that the first like first week or two, like our job is trying to get you like built up and consistent. And I always say, like, always trust the process. I don't know if you guys saw, like, I had a couple of the past clients like drop in some tips in the client only Facebook group because usually what I hear is like, damn, like, it took me a while to trust the process. And I'm like, I know it's hard. It's like we're telling you to eat more food, and you guys are like, it's scary. I get it. So another thing too is, your fat intake looks great. Like that looks perfect. Protein needs to come up for sure. So let's take a look see at what we got going on, right? So Monday, April 21st. So you were too far off on that. So let's look at the 22nd because that's a better day to take a look at, right? All right, cool. So you're using factor stuff, which is nice. Just gotta be careful too, because I know like for factor, sometimes it's a little bit higher on the fat side with certain ones. Oh, you did the sheep pan one too. So which is fine. Like we just gotta watch other things at the end of the day. So like avocado or like any cheeses, like things like that will start to add it up. So, always the easiest way to ever hit your protein is always have some sort of obviously supplementation. Or for you, like if you're not a supplement person, you can do things like tuna, keep that on tab. Some people I joke, I see some people that like recently are just like keeping like grilled chicken on there or like, canned chicken. They have like a lot of those little snacks, like to go snacks now. You can also do, let me make sure you're not allergic to anything, like the Oikos Pro. They're also like around 20 grams of protein. So let's see, coffee meat, bagel. Yeah, good, good. So if you did like the Oikos Pro, hopefully I say that right? In the morning, mm, I think it's no. Might raise your fats a little bit, but it's around like 20 to 25 grams of protein, right? So right then and there, that's going to help. The only thing I would say is if we could dial back some fat, maybe just like get rid of your baby bell cheese a little bit, just to help lower that and get you in that 10-gram range. Because the things with fats, right? Like I mentioned, they're 1 gram. For every 1 gram, they're 9 calories. So if you see the calories jump up, it's because you're having just like your fats are a little bit over. It's not the end of the world. If you notice that too, for some people, I've seen over the years that some people do better with a higher fat diet. Not so much like better as in like results, but like physically, that's how they eat. They're just better with higher fat and a little bit lower carb. It's just the food choices that they make. It's not the end of the world. For you guys, you have the ability to like have that flexibility. I always say keep your protein, as close as you can to what we give you, but you can kind of move this stuff around. Like you can always increase this and decrease that, obviously down the road, when you guys are done with us, but you have more flexibility with those two. All right, so good, good, good. So like again, we're pretty close within range. The only thing you need is like 40 grams of carbs just to help increase that, right? So what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? A couple things, right? So obviously with your Italian sausage sheet pan, you could have had a potato. You could add yeah, we could do like, sweet potato or a regular potato or some other carb, rice, something that you want to kind of eat it with, brown rice, those little rice packets that got like, I think I have a couple of those inside, like where you can just microwave them really fast, especially if you're short on time. But, you got a sweet potato, and then we're a lot closer there, right? It looks a little bit better. So we didn't really make any crazy changes. All I did was get rid of the little Baby Bell cheese. I added in the Oikos Pro, and then I just added in a sweet potato, and that got you a lot closer to your numbers, right? So again, perfection isn't the key. It's just getting as close as we can. Same thing here, right? We want to make sure we're always getting an adequate amount of protein in. This is the hardest thing for most people, but good job. Like you had lunch with that sheet pan. So you're using the same thing for one more day, which I think is great. And the one thing you could do is if you have access to, you could do Core Life, you can do a regular whey protein powder, you can do like vegan protein powder. You guys can do, like I said, like the tuna packets. You guys could do the buffalo chicken dip recipe that I have, which also has protein. I'm trying to think of like off the cuff. Quest chips, they have some protein in there. Obviously we want to make sure we're doing like whole foods as much as possible, but sometimes like life happens. So again, gives you that opportunity. And then obviously guys too, like if you have drinks, it's just going to increase your caloric intake, right? There's nothing else that's going to happen with that. Not the end of the world, right? We just want to make sure we're logging it so we can see it. So for you, yeah, that would probably be it. Like we can increase carbs somewhere. We don't want to go too high, right? Because obviously then we start getting too high on the caloric intake. So I would say if anything, because you had the lager, those things are heavy duty. Just have more protein that day. So a couple things you can always do is let me see. We could go back, do the like you buy a bunch of Oikos Pros, you have those once a day. Or you have one of the many, many different protein powders out there, or the Core Powers. You can buy those. There's chocolate, there's vanilla, they have strawberry now. They have like 26 grams of protein. Some of them. You don't have to have that one. I think they have one that's like 40, but they're kind of thick.
That's actually what the Joko is. It's a
Oh, is that what
protein
that is?
scoop.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Is it like a little package or is it is
No, I mean it's like a I buy the bag of it, but
oh, okay, perfect. So
yeah.
I would just do 2 scoops then. Look, you're done. And you already have that. Boom. I do 2 scoops. I do a scoop and a half after my workouts. But usually throughout the day, because I have protein in my protein coffee, I do like 2.5 scoops a day because my protein intake's usually like 150, somewhere around there, or like 150 to 160. So, just do 2 scoops and then boom, you hit it and you're within your range and you would have hit your numbers like pretty solid there. Let's take a look. Any questions on anything?
I don't think so. It definitely makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, for you, like, because you're just getting really low on protein, just double down. You know what I mean? When in doubt, double down. Just gonna make your protein intake come up a little bit more. And you're doing a lot of eggs, which is good. Look at my meal guides and see if I have anything fun for protein on here. The chomps are really good to have around the house. We used to keep those a lot. The Bear Bells protein bars, they're pretty solid. I think we talked about those last week. A lot of people doing those. Or it's just more so for you. Like if you had the Caesar salad, you could add more, chicken on it. Salmon. You could do like, I do steak sometimes on top of mine. I'll buy like a bunch of like when steaks on sale, bunch of that. Put a bunch in the freezer. Same thing lunch. That's probably the one thing that got you, right? Is because you just had like 2 things of fruit. So you just got to fill in the gap there and just add some protein in. So that's your 30 grams right there.
I
For
forgot
most of
my
you,
lunch that day.
you forgot it. Oh no. That'll do it. So if that happens, it is what it is. Like it's not the end of the world. But that'd be the only thing for you. It's just like, getting that extra like 30 grams in during lunch. But everything else looks pretty good. You just, that's all really we got to do for you is just get you eating a little bit more with the protein and the carbs. Your fats are great. Like you have no problems getting close to those. So for you, let's see, 30 factor. Did the egg. It's crazy like how much protein you really got to start eating. It's like exhausting. You know what I mean? I always tell people that. Like it's all fun and games when you want to put muscle on, so you got to realize how much protein you have to really eat. And everyone's like, this is hard. So you need like 53 grams. So same thing, like doing your protein that day, the 2 scoops, which will give you like what, like 40 or something. Let's see. It's probably in here. There it is. Like there isn't a day that goes by that I don't have some sort of protein powder at this point. You know what I mean? Like you just did 2 scoops that day, it would have got you there. For your protein intake. Your fat's great, and you need 102 grams of carbs, which is crazy. So for me, that's like, okay, what can I eat? Whole grain bagels, adding your fruit, apple, banana. Um, doing small things like snacks, right? You could do like you keep a bunch of like I keep those mini peppers sometimes in the fridge and I just like eat them and I just like go in the fridge and I just snack on them because they're like crunchy. So if you're bored, bored eater, keeping those on hand, carrots. So it's gonna be crazy. Like if you guys just start eating a bunch more of that stuff, it's gonna take for you're gonna be like, damn, this takes forever to like hit my carbohydrate intake. So obviously the more heavier things you're gonna want to incorporate then. So potatoes or like bagels, that'll help you out too. Pretzels and like a million other things that you guys can incorporate. Strange enough, bread, pasta. You can make yourself like a little bowl of Barilla protein pasta. You know what I mean? In between meals. Have that as a snack. I used to keep a lot. I mean, still to this day, we buy the rain. I think it's called Reina's, like little tortellinis and stuff like that, because you can throw them in the freezer. They take 4 minutes to make. Love those things. So it takes like next to no time. They're always in the deli aisle, right next. They're usually always every grocery store I go to. They're always near the same stuff. It's right next to like where they cut all the meats and stuff like that. So if you're like, damn, I can't ever hit my carbs, like eat some pasta. Get some Barilla protein pasta. Get some chickpea pasta, stuff like that. It's going to help you guys increase your carbohydrate intake. So for you, like, I mean, I'll just add this as a snack, right? Let's say you end up doing that, like you do Barilla protein. I mean, 100 grams of protein pasta is insane. And just a heads up, this is always it when it's raw. So if it's going to be cooked, it's going to be closer to like 4.5 ounces when it's cooked. 4.5, 5 ounces per serving. So you could do like 2 servings, I think, or more, honestly. Yeah, so that's 76, right? So then it gets you jumped up a little bit more, and then you could add in whatever pasta sauce you want. I always use Rayo's because it's got like less junk in it. And then boom, like, you're actually way over on your protein now because we had you do the protein pasta, which gave you like 20 grams of protein. So in that case, and this is why I like to pre-log, we could just dial this bad boy back a little bit. Boom, 145, 79, and you're only short 23 grams of carbs. So, pick your favorite snack you want that's carbohydrate heavy, and then just have that fill in the gaps. Cool. Let's see. Other than that, yeah, that's really it. Like if we can get your protein up a little bit more, but for you, it's just adding more. Right. So what's that? 28. So 125. Yeah. Probably do two. If you want it there, you can also add in a little bit more here. So let's say we do two, or 1.5 or two. It's going to jump your fat up a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. Um, And then basically you could have like something with this, something for lunch, right? You can do, I don't know, you guys want to have like sun chips, or you can have grapes, or you can have something with your Bloody Mary, you know what I mean? A little something to soak it up for you. I like First Watch. That's a really good breakfast place, by the way. I love that place. Um, little something on that. But other than that, everything's looking pretty solid. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be like building you up a little bit more, making sure and like look, now it looks pretty solid these next couple days. You're a little short on carbs. You're just not a carb heavy person, which is pretty normal. Yeah, and this is good. You did the Chobani 20 grams. Perfect. Let's see, 78 grams. That's it. Like all you gotta do is add more to your sausage sheet pan. So you can always do Bob Evans mashed potatoes. Fucking love these things because they're microwavable. And I haven't smashed. I like stuff that's quick. And they don't have a lot of ingredients, surprisingly. And it's only got 7 grams of fat in it. So it's 20 grams of carbs. So you could do something like that. It's only shooting you up a little bit. And then basically, egg cottage cheese. With your cottage cheese, you can add in like some blueberries. right? And you guys can always do this with yourselves too. You guys can like look back on your past days, not 3 cups. Oh my God. You guys can look back on your past days and go like, all right, like what could I make better? And then all we're doing right now for Sierra is giving her like several different meal guides. Like these are meal guides you can use over and over and over again. Because what do I have to do? I just go back to Monday, the April 28th. And then on my phone, I just copy all of these over to whatever day I'm gonna eat the same thing, right? Buffalo mac and cheese, boom, it's done. I got my snacks in there, done. And then you guys can just mix and match. You know what I mean? And that's really what it comes down to is like simplifying this to as best you can because it's really going to help you guys get the most dialed in. And you guys can get the most dialed in with the food choices you're already making. So, like what I just did with Sierra stuff, like we just optimized a ton of different days. So all you have to do, Sierra, is go back in and boom, 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 crushed it. All right. Any questions on any of that? Does all that make sense, guys? I don't know where my little chat thing went. Hold on. Let me stop my share so I can actually see it. It's is against everything society tells us. I know. It really is because, ugh, you know, all people want to do is push like eat this way, eat keto. It's going to be the best thing you've ever tried. Buy all my keto products. When in reality, you guys don't have to shop any different. All you have to do is just optimize what you're currently doing. And if you can optimize what you're currently doing, one, you don't have to buy anything new. Like I'm not here like every one of you needs to eat Ezekiel bread. Like I don't do that. I think it's crazy. I'd rather just you guys all eat whatever bread you eat and just make it fit into your macro targets because if you do that, life just becomes so much more simpler. Um, yeah, and keto made you gain weight and force you to drop out of a race. Yeah, keto's not good anyway. Like I have a lot of people that sat across from me that tried it. They've like had gallbladder issues, unhealthy relationship with food, carbs. They feel like they have to say no to everything. It's just like my job for you guys is not to restrict, it's to inform and give you guys like the power, like your power back, right? That's the one thing is I know I've talked about this in the past, but food is everything, right? Celebration, it's what makes or breaks what our body composition looks like. It's sadness. When we celebrate, it's everything. Everything is encompassing around food. And that's why it holds so much power. But essentially, my job for you guys is to take your power back and just say, like, hey, food is just numbers. And if I can just see that all it is just adding and subtracting, then that's it. Like I can still have, dude, I love cosmic brownies. I have Pop Tarts in the cabinet. I still eat Pop Tarts. My goal isn't to be like, obviously I understand like some foods aren't the best, especially we know like there's a lot of food dyes and stuff like that out there. We're all not brainwashed. We all know that. But at the same time, like we still have our M&Ms, we still have our Skittles, we still have our favorite candy, even though it's not like the best thing for us. But at the end of the day, cosmic brownies are my kryptonite too. I grew up eating them and I can't stop. But again, like I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, Megan, you can never eat cosmic brownies again. You know they're not the best thing in the world. I know they're not great, but I'm not eating them all the time. I'll buy them every once in a while. I'll eat them, and then I get my fix. Right? We all have our fixes. We all got to have our go-to things. It's all about compromise, right? We have to compromise with ourselves. Obviously, I can't go out and overeat every single day and just eat everything in sight. Because obviously, if I do that, like the weight's going to start coming on. But if I go, hey, it's not the end of the world if I program a cosmic brownie in my day, but I hit all my macro targets. You see what I mean? From that point forward, you're like, oh, you're right. I can actually have that. And then I don't feel the need to like binge eat, right? Because that's the number one thing I hear is for most people. Sometimes I'll sit across from maybe one of you, I don't know. But people go, when's my cheat day? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you can have whatever you want. You just have to learn to make it fit. Because if you can learn to make it fit, then after a while you're gonna be like, oh, I don't really want this anymore. I've had my fill. I thought for so long that I needed to do this, but it's not true. It really isn't. So just giving you guys that ability to kind of tell yourself that and use those guides. Like honestly, that's why I made them. Like I have stuff that has tofu in there. I've got like vegetarian, I've gluten-free, dairy-free in there. And then there's another like 200 different ones. They all have like pictures in them in the course. So I have more inside. I like these ones just because like they mimic my fitness pal, so it's easy for you guys to use. But I show people how to eat tater tots, like, like I'm looking at one of these right now. You know, like stuff like this where you're eating like tater tots, like chicken nuggets. You can still have ketchup. Obviously, if you're someone that's like diabetic, go for sugar free. Like, I mean, most of that stuff's kind of like, in my opinion, like common sense. I'll just switch things out if I know, like, I gotta watch my sugar intake. You know, for this one, like someone that had sugar with their coffee and cream, some people just can't break it. But I want you guys to see, like, right, if you're doing sugar, there's 8 grams of carbs inside of it. So as you plug this stuff in, you know, someone like I work with a lot of people that are coffee addicts. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you got to down the you got to like lower the sugar intake if that's the case. If you're gonna have like 8 cups a day, some of y'all be crazy. But I still want to show you guys. Like, I want to show you like there's no, you know, the Greek though. If you guys haven't had the Greek pita bowl, that's a good one. You could buy rotisserie chicken for us. You don't even have to. The only thing you have to cook if you want, now that they make like microwavable rice, is really the rice. That's literally it. Everything else is like veggies and stuff like that. Because one thing when I thought when I started my fitness, like my fitness journey, my fitness plan, whatever, I thought that I had to copy the meal plans that they gave me to the T. Like I didn't understand that I had the power to like make these changes. And when I figured that out, I was like, what the fuck am I been doing this whole time? Like, why am I thinking I have to eat like this stuff makes no sense. I don't eat like this. Didn't grow up eating this food. I still eat healthy, right? We still obviously make good choices, but it's not the way I eat. So why am I trying to follow something that doesn't align with me? And once I understood that, it's kind of like everything clicked into place. My body composition was able to change. I was able to see the weight loss. Life became a little bit easier. I didn't feel restricted. And that's what I want from you guys is to like get all those, you know, those things clicking, those light bulbs going off. All right. I went a little bit over today, but I kind of wanted to really just drive home nutrition. And I'm gonna keep doing it until you guys all go, oh my God, Megan, I get it. Like, leave me alone. Because I think every time like we can just learn a little bit something else when it comes to nutrition, it just like it flips switches for some people. Sometimes it takes like a couple times, I always say, right? I mean, how many times did you guys see my ad? 1,000 probably, it feels like. But at some point you're like, you know what, this actually is gonna work. I'm gonna try it, right? Sometimes it takes us seeing something over and over and over again for us to take action. So um, same thing with your nutrition. You know, you guys can print these guides out. I don't care what you do with them. You can, you know, toss them in the air. But they're for you. They're for you guys to like learn from. I've had people print out like all the stuff I've given them and they've had a whole binder. So, you know, go to work and use their printer ink, obviously. And you know, collect everything and then highlight stuff that you guys want to use. You'd be like, oh, I like this dinner option sounds great. This, you know, and then basically you guys have a menu that you guys can pick and choose from. And then, like I said, life becomes easier because you guys can just copy that until you start building up these habits, right? And then when you build the habits, it kind of goes from there. All right. Anyone questions before I sign off? No? All right,
Nope.
cool. No? All right. Is everyone's brains fried from nutrition? All right.
No, it
That's what
needs to keep getting pounded in.
It takes time. Everyone goes a different pace. So it's just one day at a time. You know, try to make each day a little bit better. And from that point forward, like, you know, I'll keep bringing up, if you guys want me to just do this every week, like I'll pull up each one of your nutrition and we'll kind of make it better. And then we'll pretty much optimize your nutrition so you guys can always go back. Like, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, my goal for you guys is to like have you leave the program and feel really good that you've learned something. So let's hit it. All right. So let me know if you guys have any questions. You know, obviously reach out to your accountability coaches. They're there to support you. I know we went through a lot. You'll get the replay the next day. So if you need to go over anything, like you'll have that replay so you can pause it, bring it up on your computer, watch it, listen to it, whatever. But other than that, let's keep grinding at it. I will probably change next week's time and day just because we're gonna be on the road. My wife and I are traveling to Tennessee, so we're gonna be bebopping. We're trying to get there as quickly as possible, but obviously we're in Arizona, so it's not a short commute. So I will let you guys know what day and time because I'm probably gonna push it back to the end of the week when we're in Tennessee because I have no privacy when we travel because my office is all packed up. So I will let you guys know. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out, okay? All right, good night, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.